welcome into the Ryan Ripken Show right on time. You know, you're here at the right time. Well, at least you all have been patient, and we appreciate you, and welcome on in. And happy Thursday here. It's our last show of the week, and then it's the weekend. But, man, we got a lot ahead for you guys today. First and foremost, we do have a big guest that's going to join us at the 4 p.m. hour, 4:30, 4:40. Mr. Cube, or Ice Cube, the big three is coming back to Baltimore, and Ice Cube's going to talk about what they have in store and much more. And actually, guess what? He might be back on tour. I did not mean that for that to rhyme. But also, the Orioles won a big series against the New York Yankees. We'll wrap that in. And we had a chance yesterday to sit down with former Orioles GM Dan Touquette and talking about why players, you got to give your roster, I guess I should say, the opportunity to see what you have before you make moves, and why you don't see a lot of moves in April or early May. And then, yes, I know that the New York Yankees are very good, and you might not like them, but you got to respect the hell out of what Aaron Judge is doing. And some people are comparing Aaron Judge right now to prime Barry Bonds. We'll dive into that and much more. And we'll dive around Major League Baseball. We'll have a little Throwback Thursday story time for you. And actually, it's a little bit quiet in here. It's just me and Ollie in the studio. But don't you guys worry, because behind the scenes right now, let's bring on your friend, my friend, Mr. Zach Bollinger. Bolly, how we doing?
I'm doing well. I think I'm doing a lot better than you in traffic. That's to say the least. I think, we had another L today, just damn traffic.
I don't know what it is right now. And I've had a lot of commutes. That one was up there for like top worst commutes in the Ryan Ripken Show era for me. Worst commutes. You know what, Ollie, he's been a really big trooper over there, and he's rewarding himself by laying down, pink ball in the mouth, no cares in the world. I'm stressing so he doesn't have to stress. If that makes sense.
It's what good dog parents do. He's living the life. That's all that matters. At the end of the day, it's his world. We're just living in it.
You're damn right. And hey, before we kick off the show and do a little bit of a throwback to start off this Thursday, I got to say, this episode is brought to you by our friends over at Merit Clubs. You can see the big sign behind me, meritclubs.com. You can see the link right here, and they're still allowing us a 2-week free membership, and we got the banner working below. You use the code RIP, RIP 25. You can get 2 weeks free on us. And yeah, they have pickleball, basketball, Pilates. But I think a lot of people, if you work out and you want to go chill at a pool up in Canton, they have one of the best rooftop pools in the area. And guilty, we are going to be doing a live show there upcoming in the future. And maybe we'll be lounging around. We hope to see you there. So, Zach, I got to kind of start this off with a little bit of Throwback Thursday. And I told you I kind of had a couple things that were on my mind. Number one, I know there's been a lot of changes to X and Twitter, whatever you want to call it. But you know what? One thing I kind of miss?
What's that?
The bots. I miss the bots, man. I miss looking back and you see some of those posts, right? Of, nudes in profile. And it was actually at the time where we're talking about mojo of getting the team back on track. It's one of the vibes really high in Baltimore. Brenda, and I saw another one, Crystal. Those were the two bots that nudes in profile, and that's when it was peak. The Orioles couldn't lose, and I had to remind them, hey, sorry, that's great and all. Priorities say Jackson Holiday got called up, and the Birds won a big series and came back. And you know what? Maybe you need those types of vibes to start this day off, because the Baltimore Orioles get a massive series win against the New York Yankees. Not the way you might have thought it would, right? You get absolutely blown out. You get outscored in the series, but you're 2 wins by 1 run, and you walk into May feeling a little bit better than you did for the whole month of April. And I got to say, what feels good? What it felt like in throwback form? How about Mr. Felix Bautista, the Mountain? is back like the Mountain.
Yeah, I think an underrated storyline from this Yankees series is Felix didn't have just one, but two one-run saves. I think that is very undervalued and under talked about right now. Everyone's talking about, oh, he hit 99. Oh, his splitter looks as disgusting as ever. For me, it's the high leverage situation. It's the fact that, remember, to start this year, he was coming in 4 or 5 run games, kind of easing him back in there. People were like, okay, when it gets to the big time games, when he only has a run, on Monday, it's a 1-run lead, and, oh, you have Aaron Judge at the plate. How are you going to respond? Felix's confidence, and he's getting out of it. He looks as dominant as ever, even though he's not throwing 101. He's just up to 99.3, I believe.
Oh,
his hardest thrown, casual. His movement looks better than ever. Felix Bautista, I think the biggest storyline outside of the Orioles finding a way, despite a massive blowout loss in between. 2 1-run games, both saved by Felix Bautista. Last night, going 1-2-3 with Aaron Judge looming on deck. I mean, you want to talk about pressure. You cannot let someone get on, and now the go-ahead run at the plate is Aaron Judge.
I mean, it was beautiful. And you know what? Pitching Ninja, they put out the clips here, and I want to explain when you're looking at Vintage Mountain and getting to the top of the list. And actually, maybe I'll save it for next week then, Zach, just because – Ollie's a great studio pup, not the best producer in here to help me do a breakdown. But what I can do at the moment is just kind of show you just how naughty Felix Bautista can be here. And I mean, look, you're looking at these pitches, and this was the sequence to end the game. The fastball splitter combo, if you can throw it effectively, it's one of the most devastating combos you can have. The other one would be fastball changeup, but we're seeing a lot more splitters. You're going to see this splitter right here. So out of the hand, that kind of looks like a fastball, right, Zach?
Yeah.
And then whammy, drops right off the table. And this might be the most encouraging thing then. It's almost the same idea, right? Maybe a little bit higher. So the splitter, the last one, you can say it was right middle of the zone, going to drop down. But out of the hand, it looks the same, but it's got a little bit more get up on it. But same part of the plate, outside corner, and Felix is able to blow it by Grisham to close out this series and the game. And you can see the confidence there, and for the Baltimore Orioles here, Zach, look, I said it before, this staff and the starting rotation, look, they're going to have to kick it into gear. You got to give yourself a chance because your bullpen is your strength. And the back end of your bullpen is pretty damn good if that guy's chucking the ball. And also, all of you, those that didn't want Brian the Baker. Brian the Baker, man, is absolutely cooking. We should have him in studio to cook up some things. Kyle, he's been tremendous. He's been great in high leverage. So is Cano. And so the Orioles, when you're able to have a lead and get late, the confidence is there that you're going to win the game. Now it's, can you get off to a good start and not have to play from behind? And if that happens, we're going to be A-okay. But now, Zach, clean slate. Clean slate. 0-0 going into May. Now you got a Kansas City Royals team coming to Baltimore on Friday that is looking for some business. And they've given the Orioles some trouble. But if you are an Orioles fan, I hear you. April was, I get it. But you move on and you move ahead. And I do really think that this team has the ability to get going here. And we got a long way to go. New phrase of 2025. Long way to go, Zach.
Long way to go. And Ryan, dare I call last night's game the most impressive win of the season? I mean, in a lot of facets of it, let's talk about, we've said multiple times it feels like the Orioles early in games, sometimes they get punched in the mouth and it deflates the team. And you see them be like, and here we go again. Listen, they just got blown out less than 24 hours prior. Not non-competitive, game over before. I mean, it's just embarrassing. As a team, you're like, well, that really sucked. You go out there, about 8 pitches in, Aaron Judge, 2-run homer. Oh, congratulations, your consolation prize. Now you're in a hole. You haven't even batted yet. You're in a hole. go down 2-0, go out in the first inning, get 2 guys on. You're like, okay, here's an opportunity. Let's strike right back. You don't get anything. So now you're sitting there and it feels like, okay, here's another opportunity where the Orioles just aren't going to get it done. They fall behind. The wheels are going to fall off. Cade Povich, the 2-run homer to Judge in the first. He's going to, go have a classic. Cade Povich is an on start where he gives up 6-7 runs in 5 innings. It looked like it was, okay, on to Kansas City. But they kept fighting. Povich battles. The only other run, a solo shot to Goldschmidt. You'll take a solo shot, especially to a guy who's top 5 in average in Major League Baseball right now. I mean, if you're going to give up 2 long balls to guys right now on the Yankees, Goldschmidt and Judge, those are the 2 you let beat you, because those are the guys that they're going to get theirs right now. So for Povich to battle, the bullpen to come in, do what they do. The offense was opportunistic. Ryan Mountcastle, 2-run homer to tie it. Ramon Urias gets a hanger. I've tweeted out, I think, 7 times already this year. When the Orioles need a big hit, Ramon Urias comes through about 85% of the time. It just feels like he's always getting that big hit. Then they come in, they extend it, they get the lead, and they never look back. You bring in Felix Bautista in a 1-run game. People were upset about Hyde pulling Cano at just 5 pitches. It worked. You can be upset at the buttons he pushed, but with the day off today, he knew he had enough guys that he could use a little bit more of the bullpen, push the right buttons, and they get the win. I mean, from a blowout loss to 2-0 down in 10 pitches to coming back and winning the series against the first place Yankees. It feels like, especially with the Heston Kjerstad situation, felt like maybe a little bit of fire was lit under these guys, and they showed a little more fight than we've seen this year.
And here's the thing, and just like you said with Ramon Urias or some of these veterans coming up big, you lean on those guys. And for Ramon, you said it's 85% of the time. As my good friend Ron Burgundy would say, Brian Fantana. Brian Fantana would say 60% of the time it works every time. And my good friend Ron Burgundy would say that stings the nostrils.
Yeah.
When things don't go right? But things did go right for the Orioles last night. And I'll tell you what, that is something that the 2023 Birds did better than anybody.
1-run wins.
Down early, battle back, find a way to win the close game, 1-run games, whatever it may be. That was nice to see. It was great to see Ryan Mountcastle be able to let one loose and feel a little bit better about where he is at, because he's pressing. You're watching it. And I want to play a clip here for a second on how important the mental side of the game is. And that's actually a little bit of a preview for who our Sunday conversation is going to be with Hall of Fame pitcher John Smoltz. And I think John is a tremendous, tremendous analyst. But you know what he focused on in this conversation? The mental side. So, Zach, allow me to play you a little clip, guys, for everything here of John Smoltz talking about the mental side of the game. The most talented guys end up being the superstars for whatever reasons, because they're not able to get past that human element or get out of their own head, so to speak.
Well, I think, as we look at computers, viruses can get in a computer, and if you don't get it out, computer's not going to work. And your mind works the same way. We go into slumps, and no one talks about the mental slumps that people go into that are real. And no one wanted to talk about it. I became kind of the poster child for an over-exaggerated scenario. Like, no one was laying me on a couch and had a watch and was TikTok, and it was none of that. He wasn't transforming into a pitcher I never could be. It was getting me back to the pitcher I always was. And what happens in sports, and I do this in golf now all the time, I'll tell my caddy, don't ever tell me, do not tell me where not to hit it. Because your brain doesn't conceivably understand. If you say, don't hit it left, your brain thinks about left. It hit it left. It doesn't process don't. So everything that I did from that point on was a positive command on the mound. And I would work off of those mental strengths, because I was always mentally tougher than anybody in my age group, because I wanted to be. But then when you get in that slump, you figure like, what's going on? And then you start working the word don't hang a slider. Well, you're going to hang a slider. I tell my catchers, if you want the ball down, tell me bury it down. Give me a command. Don't give me, hey, don't hang this pitch. So I think a lot of those things served me well for not only pitching the three biggest games of my life, but what I didn't tell you is that I prepared my whole upbringing of pitching in game sevens. I pitched a game seven every day outside my house with a rubber ball and a wall. I tell people all the time that I created my own palace of like, this is what it's going to be like. And I'm not into like, if, you know, you create it, it'll always happen. But if you do not think it, you're never going to believe it. If you don't believe it, you never dream it.
There's a lot I love to unpack right there. And that John Smoltz interview is going to be live as part of our Off Script Sundays. And there's a whole hell of a lot of stories in there. But the first comment to start off right there, when computers get viruses, and on the outside, everything might look okay, but things start short-circuiting. Things don't work properly. The human mind's the exact same way. And look at what the Baltimore Orioles were that first month, Zach. And look across baseball. The teams that are really struggling, go look at their teams right now. Is it because that they're lacking talent? Some might. The Colorado Rockies are really struggling, but they're also mentally are in a pretzel. They're not in a good headspace. When you lose games, you're battling that sensation of, man, it feels like we suck, or I'm not playing well. Maybe I suck, but you got to find a way to battle out of it. And look, hey, I love the fan bases everywhere. I don't think everything stays very positive, and nor do I expect it to. But as a player, you got to fight those thoughts, because as soon as you start thinking, I can't do something, you are screwed, Zach. One of those guys that I know in this case, you could look on his face that Mountie was not confident, that Mountie was looking for something. You could look on the other players of a frustrated Gunnar Henderson, at times maybe a frustrated or lost Adley Rutschman, but you got to keep showing up. You got to go back to work, put on your hard hat, and go do the damn thing. And that's why you're seeing an opportunity when teams can flip the script. And you mentioned Paul Goldschmidt, Zach. It's not a coincidence to me that Goldie is out there playing well to start this season. Goldie's always been a good player. Sure, he's getting older, but maybe he just needed to get a clean slate, reset his mind, and then the rest is history, Zach. So it's a good reminder. Don't sleep on the mental side of anything in life, specifically in the game of baseball.
Yeah, and I loved, him talking about telling his catchers and, just coaches, anyone he works with, like, his caddy in golf, I don't even want to think about that, because as soon as you allow those thoughts, you can talk about it, in baseball with, okay, don't strike out this at bat. Okay, we got to get this guy. I don't want to strike out. We can't strike out. Or instead, if it's, okay, put the ball in play. Goals, put the ball in play. We're hitting here. If you're telling yourself don't strike out, well, then you go after the ball that took it in the dirt because you see it at your knee and you're like, oh, that's a strike. I got to swing here. Instead of looking for your pitch going, okay, I just got to put this ball in play. I don't have to do too much. Just put the ball in play. Instead of doing that, you're telling yourself, okay, I can't strike out. I can't hit it to the right side. Can't hit it back to the pitcher. I can't hit this in the air. You start doing all those things, you're done. And especially in baseball, if you're sitting there thinking about don't strike out, just don't strike out. During an at-bat, you're going to strike out, because there's already too much against you for you to also be fighting yourself.
Oh, no doubt about it, man. I was trying to go back and find photos, and I found a photo of me actually, Zach, and maybe this is me also looking like a little bit of a hardo, but maybe this is also because it's throwback and we're talking about visualization, right? About how does this get perceived? And this was me. They said they wanted a headshot, right? And I don't know if this is like the headshot that I was looking for, but I mean, first off, a little bit more hair. I mean, it still looked, the jawline looks good. Obviously, we could talk about
a lighter
physical appearance, but that moment right there, like they said, hey, picture, smile. And that was the photo that I gave. And to give more context to this, that was probably one of the most miserable years of my career, both even professionally and personally, man. I had so much going on that I didn't give myself a chance on the baseball field. And it didn't have to do with physical skills, right? I'm not saying I was the most talented out there, But I had enough skills where I couldn't go out there and display that because of what I was allowing my mind to go down this rabbit hole. And there's just kind of an example. Like that, again, was a hey, Ryan, smile type of situation. Now, there is one thing if you want to give yourself a little kick in the ass. You can call yourself a name and be like, hey, just, for me, it'd be like, just fucking do it, right? Sometimes it's like that. Or it's like, hey, snap yourself out of it. But that's not being negative. That's just, hey, give yourself a little kick in the ass. Trey Mancini said that. Give yourself a little kick in the ass and don't feel sorry for yourself. So it's the combination. You can't feel sorry for yourself and you can't beat yourself up constantly. Everyone does it, but in sports, if you do that, you're screwed. So I love the
especially in baseball.
Yeah.
Because baseball, you fail more than you succeed. So it's one of those things where if every time you failed, you're in your head, you're going to have a very tough career because it's, it is so mental. You have to be able to deal with failure here. So, and like you said, bring it back to the Orioles. There are guys throughout this season where you could tell when they were going up there was not a lot of confidence. Whether it was they were dealing with a nagging injury and you could tell something wasn't right, whether it was a mental thing where you talked about Mountie, you could just kind of tell he was pressing. That has a major impact on players, when they're not only fighting the other team, fighting the game, but they're fighting themselves internally.
Oh, yeah. And the internal battle, I'll tell you what, I don't want to tell you all of the conversations a really negative Ryan went down. We can save that for a different day. And you know me, Zach, I'm very open. Yeah. I'm very honest with my personal struggles because I just want to be transparent on you aren't alone with your thoughts. You aren't alone with what goes on both on the field and off the field. But I just want to try to make a point since we're dissecting how guys play. A huge part of that is mentally if you're able to do it. And the guys that last longer in the bigs are the ones that either figure out how to handle their emotions and they can maximize their talent because of that, or you have the superstar type players, which we'll get to here in a moment, that are just so damn good and they're so mentally locked in that shirts and pants, man, there's nothing you can do to stop them. But before we get into all that, if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We are live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube. We do post this on Spotify and Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. And what helps us a lot is if you guys rate and review on the podcast platforms. If you like on this, send out the good word so more people can find us and join the community here. And if you're already a community member, we got over 120 of you. Appreciate you guys. And our Holy Shirts and Pants members, our top tier, you guys have been some OGs from the beginning and have helped continue to help us grow. And we've only been doing this for 19 months, truly, consistently. And a big reason why we've continued to grow is because of our community. So the Rips Good Kids and Holy Shirts and Pants, appreciate you guys. Want to be a member, hit that subscribe button. And when I move, you move.
Just like that.
Just like that. And you know what? One day we'll get Ludacris on. But in the meantime, I think we got a pretty damn good guest that's going to be joining us, Zach, in just about half an hour. And that is Mr. Cube, Mr. Ice, even though no one calls him that apparently except me. But Ice Cube is joining us to talk about the big three coming to Baltimore and his upcoming tour and what else he has up his sleeve. But Zach, we saw the big three. There's a lot of great things and great players.
A lot of great players.
Holy smokes, man. It's going to be an awesome thing to see. So let's dive into about what's been awesome. And you don't have to be an Oriole fan. Okay. Just be a baseball fan here for a second. I don't like that Aaron Judge hits 200 home runs against the Orioles, but he's not the only team he's doing damage against. I mean, Zach, there's a sample size over the last 162 where he is just not human. He's a machine. He's going out there and doing things that we might think isn't possible, or maybe we wouldn't see since one player back in the early 2000s. That's Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge has been on an absolute tear. And MLB Network, Zach, brought up a very interesting point about, are we seeing the closest thing to just dominance since a certain Barry Bonds. Let's play that clip for you guys right now.
Just on a nightly basis have watched Aaron Judge for the better part of 3 years dominate the sport offensively. Yeah. And then I also think like guys who do it different, like first time you saw Magic Johnson, someone that could play point guard and move like that at that size. The fact that Aaron Judge is 6'7", when you're in a room with him, he swallows you.
Yes.
And can play center field and can play right field and handles himself the way he does with all the pressure on him and consistently puts at bat after at bat together. He missed the ball off Kyle Gibson and it still went out. And then the ball yesterday, he absolutely killed. So I was just sitting there, the greatest player I ever had the chance to play against and be on the field with, where I actually became a fan, was Barry Bonds at the height. Peak Barry Bonds was a show when he came up to the plate.
So, look, and I understand that when we're looking at that time, that day and age, and the Barry Bonds, the steroid era, you ask a lot of people, even without the steroids, if you look back to the years before, people say Barry, talent-wise, was one of the greatest they've ever watched. When the allegations were going, yeah, it was ridiculous. But either way, Zach, we haven't seen a stretch like this from Aaron Judge. And I think we have the photo now. I'm going to pull it up. Oh, you got it?
Yeah.
So that's Judge's last 154 games. That was Bonds' 2001 season. Aaron Judge is hitting 371 with 62 jacks. And the only thing that is really separating, obviously, Bonds was walked a ton, the on-base percentage, the slugging percentage higher. But the ribbies, man, are top-notch. He's got a higher F-WAR than Bonds. The average, obviously, 40 points higher, 43 points higher. You don't have to like the Yankees. You don't have to like Aaron Judge. But personally, talk about a guy that's so good for the sport and handling pressure. You got to give him props. Playing in New York is not easy. Not everyone is comfortable with that spotlight. And he continues to show up looking like Pablo Sanchez in backyard baseball. Yeah. Every time he makes contact, you felt like it was going to be a home run.
I mean, this stretch, you talk about 154-game stretch. If you're hitting 371 with 62 home runs, 157 RBIs, this technically isn't even a full season. This is 8 games off of a full season. This is unreal. I'm going to be honest. As a fan of baseball, this is so incredible to watch this peak because this isn't normal. This is not normal at all. This is one of the greatest runs you'll ever see. As a fan of the Orioles, I don't understand why you pitch to him. Like, genuinely. Like, if there is a runner on, don't pitch to him. I would have him put the fourth. Like, strategically, we talk about all the time the days of Barry Bonds where he would just bases loaded, Bucks walk him. Doesn't matter, walk him. We're going to get to that point. I think we already are in a lot of senses with Aaron Judge, where his on-base percentage is going to be above 500 because half the time he's probably just going to be intentionally walked or pitched around, because you have to be crazy to, if he is anywhere near, the tying run, the go-ahead run, maybe there's a guy on base at your best case scenario feels like him hitting a single. Like, if you give up a single to Aaron Judge, it's like, well, escape that one. Okay, live to see the next batter.
Yeah, it'd be nice if he stopped going big ball against the Birds. He destroys the Orioles, and I mean destroys. And actually, first pitch that Povich threw to him yesterday was a fastball in, and I'm like, hell yeah, that's where you got to go. You got to attack him fastball in, because Judge is such a massive individual. If he gets his arms extended, you're screwed. But unfortunately, you throw a breaking ball over the heart of the plate, anywhere over the heart of the plate to Aaron Judge is a problem. Like, truly, if I'm going to say there's a weakness, and there's no real weakness in his game, but if there's one place you got to attack him, is a fastball in. A guy with longer limbs, make him try to pull that baseball in. Anything out over the plate, you might as well say a prayer right now, because he is not missing it. It is going a long way. Obviously, hanging slider sweeper by a Povey was hit about
and had no chance.
Yeah.
And no chance. Unfortunately, that ball left Povich's hand. and the millisecond it left, it was going to be in the seats. If you make that mistake pitch, especially right now, Aaron Judge is not missing pitches. That's not happening. Aaron Judge is going out there, and if he gets a mistake, that's the thing. If you throw a mistake to Aaron Judge, you are very happy if he's sitting on first base.
Well, and that was the part when I did the breakdown the other day with Tommy Sagano.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, you got to be on with your pitches, but you can't be afraid of facing Judge, and you got to be willing to go in and out. Like in the postseason when they said, the struggles are for Aaron Judge, well, the moment it gets a little bit tighter. But if you go and watch the outings from some of those high leverage guys, they're not intimidated in the moment. They said, we're going to pitch you, and we're going to make you think in and away. And if we locate our stuff well enough, we don't care how good you are, it's going to be a challenge. So for right now, I mean, what Sagano did, split her in. Judge thinks you're going to throw that again, sweep her away, and then you go back to the splitter because now you can do whatever you want. But for Aaron Judge, man, he's been sensational. And thank goodness he's out of Baltimore, and the Orioles win this series on top of it. So you feel better about that. But he is one that no doubt we are watching one of the greatest players. I mean, it's Ohtani, Judge. It's been a pleasure to see. Aaron just healed on facing the birds and hitting bombs, man. Like, it's okay. Do it to everyone. Do it to Boston.
We were so close to him going to San Francisco. Like, it felt like it was a done deal at one point. Like, that would have been the greatest thing ever.
Great for him. Yeah.
It would have been. That would have been incredible. But now we just have to deal with him.
Yeah, and
deal with him 13 times a year.
I think the two losses that they had in this series, I know going into that strikeout against Sagano, Judge had 2 knocks, and then obviously he went deep last night. So he's still getting his, right? But can you find a way where the other guys don't get theirs? And that's why for the Orioles, the other night, it just wasn't enough damage from other guys in the supporting cast, like a Ben Rice, who's off to a great start to the season. Zach. You know what? I just had some Pellegrino. The little bubbly got me. And Kyle, thank you. Appreciate the donation here. Yankees outscored O's 22-12, but a win is a win.
Win's a win.
That's the beauty of it. You lose 30-3. Yeah, that's pretty damn bad. It's historically bad. You lose 24-2. That's also pretty damn bad. But it just counts as one loss.
Yeah,
one loss, and you move on.
Doesn't always feel like it, but it does.
Yep, that's for sure. And a lot of people, after those big losses, wanted Brandon Hyde gone in the process here, Zach. You see that article that just came out?
I did.
You did.
Friend Jacob Calvin-Meyer,
Baltimore Sun, had an article that came out that said, from the ones that have been a part of the old rebuild to the new players to everything in between, the constant theme was, we have Skipper's back, end quote. And that's what we got right there. The Baltimore Sun released the article today. And look, there's been a lot of conversations about, is Hyde losing the locker room? Oh, they're supposed to just say that. Let me just set the record straight here. Brandon Hyde can go out there, and at the end of the day, you might not like what he does on a day-to-day. If you say about handling the bullpen or lineups or whatever it may be, the perception is always different than the reality of how players view him. And especially a guy that's been there for a while, a lot of the guys have a lot of respect for him. Now, we've talked about this, Zach. If the Orioles don't do well, usually what happens is someone loses their job. But for a manager that has had 3 straight winning seasons, when they were only supposed to have 2 years of being competitive, they forced that third one. And I'm not saying I agree with all this, but I think it needs to put to rest that the guys still believe in him. They believe in each other, but losing draws up a lot of frustration. And a team that is supposed to be better draws up a lot of frustration. Zach, I put out this fact last night on Baltimore Baseball Tonight. The Orioles versus left-handed pitchers had 2 players who had an OPS over 900. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's great. You know what then? The rest of the team had an OPS under 600.
Right? Not good.
Right-handed pitchers, there's 9 players with an OPS higher than 750, including 5 of them above 880. But the point being right there, what I'm trying to say, matchup-based, not matchup-based, your players have to go out and execute. And you can say, hey, consistent lineups, I agree. It'd be good to have more consistent lineups. But when you struggle that much, you can't take them into the batter's box and help them. And the rotations that you have, you got to roll with what you got. You have to. And I knew this with the Orioles having an off day, and I don't like the Orioles using their bullpen early. But why did he do that, Zach? It's because he felt that the bullpen was a strength. We're in a close game. We can win the series against New York. I'm willing to risk that now because we need this win. You know, the Orioles' strength isn't the starting staff right now. I hope it changes. But he made moves the way that he did, and the team has his back on it. I'm not saying it's perfect, and I'm not saying I agree with all of it, but I think it was a good message, Zach, that the players were very vocal about how they feel about their skip, even through a tough start.
Yeah, and throughout, I mean, even through the years, it felt like, you know, when Brandon Hyde first got here, he was the guy that was going to take them through the rebuild. You know, that was kind of his role. But since then, he has shown his ability to win, at least in the regular season. We've yet to see any success from anyone on this team, and I don't think you can put that all on Hyde when you had a solo home run last year in the playoffs, and that was your only source of runs. If the players are saying that they fully support him now, you know, how much of it is, you know, I'm sure there are some that have maybe an issue here or there. Not everything's going to be sunshine and roses, but you can go look at the Dodgers. You can look at, there's not every player is going to be fully bought in to everything a manager says. So that's, you know, that's one aspect of it. I think the biggest thing is them playing for each other, you know, and that includes Hyde. You know, if they go out there as a unit, that gives them a better chance than if they're going out there playing for themselves as an individual, because that's when you get I have to hit a home run here. You know, I gotta be the hero instead of let me move the runner over. You know, Cedric Mullins, the hottest batter on the team, sitting down trying to lay down sack bunts, trying to find different ways to get on. You know, playing together and just trying to win as a unit rather than as an individual. That includes, you know, playing for your manager who is under fire, who people are calling for his job, saying that there needs to be the hot seat, moves need to be made. You know, players see that. You know, we talk to so many players, they see the social media stuff, so they know what's going on. It's the fact that they are having their managers back so openly and saying we can turn this around together. That gives me hope. You know, I would feel a lot worse if there was a, you know, story released and they're talking about, yeah, some Orioles aren't very happy right now. Oh, there's some clubhouse. Then I think it would be major panic time, because then, you know, it's very hard to turn that around if you have a divided clubhouse. At the moment, it seems like it's still together, moving in the same direction.
And you want that. I mean, again, get to mid-May, get to June, because you have to evaluate your spot, Zach. You got to evaluate your roster. And I'm not just pulling that out of my ass, even though I've been saying it for, I don't know, for the last year plus, and then including everything. I feel like every single week I say the same thing. But why don't we ask somebody, Zach, or we can react to someone that talked about it just yesterday on the show.
Yeah.
Former Orioles GM Dan Duquette joined us to talk about why you have to wait and why we don't see a lot of moves early on. And let's just face it, the Orioles are not the only team that's dealing with not just pitching injuries, but just kind of a identity crisis of your roster. But you still got to be patient. So, Zach, let's play that clip for the audience. Remember too many early April trades. Do you, throughout your career of teams wanting to be aggressive, trying to go get a guy early in the season?
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of clubs will evaluate their team in spring training, and then they'll watch their club play April, and then when you get to May and you get towards Memorial Day, you should have a pretty good idea of what you have on your club, right? And you have a pretty good idea as to how competitive you are and where you sit. So, you know, I don't see a lot of activity on the market, on the trade market. the big thing coming out of spring training is knowing what you have, and then seeing if you were right, seeing if your club comes together. Sometimes you can have a plan and then it just falls apart, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard because you need so much depth. And if you take a look at the Orioles this year, it's really about their starting pitching, right? They've got 7 potential starting pitchers that aren't available to them or on the disabled list.
Right.
And it's like I said earlier, unless you're the Dodgers or you're the Yankees, then you can trump the market. Any ball club is going to struggle.
Yeah.
Any ball club is going to struggle when you have those kind of injuries, because first of all, there's not enough pitchers to go around to start with.
Oh gosh.
There's not enough good ones. And then if the ones you have are hurt, now you're into a really thin development, and then all of a sudden you don't have the innings, right? If you don't have a couple of pitchers that you can depend on every time your rotation goes around, you're struggling for innings on your ball club every night. Yeah. And that's not a formula for a successful club.
So I loved hearing that conversation, because obviously the Orioles plan did not go according to what Mike Elias was hoping for. And part of it you can say is you could have traded for – there's 2 players. There's one other one I was throwing out there now, and he's having a great under-the-radar start to his Phillies career, and that's Jesus Luzardo, who has had a lot of arm issues. But the other one, obviously, is Garrett Crochet. He's in Boston, and you know what? He's off to a good start, but hasn't pitched a ton of innings. But we're looking around Major League Baseball. Zach, the Dodgers have 13 pitchers on the IL.
Yeah.
Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, 2 big contract guys for them are on the IL. Now, Yamamoto has been doing his thing. He was on the IL last year. And obviously for the Baltimore Orioles, there's a laundry list of how many players are on there. And including right now, you're looking at going into the season hoping to have Grayson Rodriguez and Zach Eflin. They're on the shelf. And now you've seen a Charlie Morton get off to a really, really tough start. And you're still awaiting the return of guys like Tyler Wells, Kyle Bradish. And then you don't have options like a Chase McDermott who could help with that depth. There's so many different intangibles in this conversation, Zach, that we can go. And the reality, though, is pitching is kind of volatile now. Some teams are going to have to take the calculated risk on what you want to do. And so I get that Oriole fans felt like Elias and the group didn't do enough, because the results have been, not just objectively, they have been the worst ERA from a starting staff. That's just objective. Yeah. They've been there. But I think it was interesting him saying there's a plan you can have in place and it just doesn't work out. And other teams are starting to deal with that, but we're just not talking about it as much just because of where we're located currently, Zach.
Yeah, I think it is just simply the plan's not working out. They did not plan for Grayson Rodriguez to miss potentially months, if not, we don't know, maybe the entire season. They did not plan on Zach Eflin to come out here and get hurt after 3 very impressive starts. I don't think they planned on Charlie Morton to come in here as the veteran and have the worst ERA by a landslide on the team. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. I like how he said, listen, there simply is a shortage. There aren't enough good pitchers out there as it is. Mm-hmm. Every team supposedly got 5 starters. Listen, about half, there are a handful of dominant pitchers in baseball. Half of them are on the Dodgers, it feels like. You could even argue the other half is on the Dodgers IL. But then you have the Frieds, the Crochets, you have guys here and there. But for the most part, most teams, unless you drafted Paul Skeens, unless you paid Max Fried 8 years over, $200 million, you don't have those front end, number 1 bona fide guys. So the issue is you have to have a plan to go to supplement that. The Orioles felt like they had a good plan. Dan even brought up you have 7 potential starters now on the IL. You knew about most of them going into the year. Trevor Rogers was a surprise, happening towards the end of offseason. Then you have, obviously Tyler Wells, Kyle Bresch. Those guys you knew, but then the Eflins, the Graysons, you weren't planning on this. So sometimes I do think it's simply the Orioles had a plan. I think it was to have a decent rotation until the trade deadline, maybe acquire a guy there. Hope that a Kyle Bradish, a Tyler Wells comes back, get a guy there. Hope a Sugano comes in and does exactly what he's doing. So that part of the plan worked out. But then you had Morton. Obviously, he hasn't been great. 2 guys go down. The plan, unfortunately, just kind of got shot down by injuries. So now you're trying to on the run, on the go. Okay, let's bring Kyle Gibson in. Okay, let's go. Maybe, Chase McDermott isn't ready. So let's go Brandon Young. Like, a guy that wasn't probably, ready to come make his debut, but now our hand is being forced. So, yeah, and it's not just the Orioles. It is a lot of teams. So I think overall in baseball, I like how I brought that up. It's not just an Orioles thing. It's a baseball problem that there aren't enough great pitchers, for every team. Not every team is going to have that number 1 guy.
Yep. And I'd like to say this about your plan. You don't have to say it's the right plan or it could be the wrong plan. But if you have a plan and it doesn't go according to it, you can find yourself in different outcomes. And Laura, I see the comment, and I've seen other people's comments about, well, they haven't developed pitching. That's a whole different other conversation. And when you're talking about going into the 2024 or 2025 season, the development part wasn't there. So you're looking at the other options that you think you could go with. The development conversation is one that we could go down a rabbit hole on. We'll save that for a different time. But whether you agree with the plan or not, each team goes through an evaluation process to help them for that season. And the ones that so far, when you're looking at executing their plan and then developing some guys and making calculated moves, I agree. Joey, Detroit, phenomenal job of what they've done. And Philly, of what they've done and who they've acquired over time. And there's a reason why those 2 staffs are doing so well. But hey, if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube, and we stream it live on X as well. But we are on Instagram, and we're trying to pick up our TikTok game, Zach. If you know, if you don't know, now you do know. So, and we're going out and doing more activities in the community. So we're excited about so many different opportunities on what we're bringing to each and every one of you. And and as we get ready then, as our guest will join us in a few minutes is the plan. Zach, might as well take a quick trip to our friends up at Hollywood Casino in West
Virginia. Yeah. Are you going to sing it or me? I thought I was going to lip sync it, and then you went to lip sync it. So then
I don't. You know what? The lip syncing. I'm glad we try to work on our cadence. I'm not a great singer, but I was.
Yeah, we both went for the lip sync.
Well,
that didn't work there. We need better communication
it
on
work
that.
As well. I was just trying to get to the point. Our friends at Hollywood Casino. We appreciate them. We'll talk about a little bit more of what we have upcoming. But Zach, I wanted to make the point. You almost had a parlay that worked for the group. You said the Orioles would win, but you said Gunnar Henderson would have 2 bases.
Only got 1. Only got me 1. Disappointing.
Well, we can try that again tomorrow if that works. But in the meantime, if our guest is ready, and Cube, if you give me a thumbs up when you're ready, we'll bring you on. Perfect. And we are glad to have him back on. And that usually means then that something great's coming back to Baltimore. So without further ado, let's bring on the one and only Ice Cube.
Yeah. What's up, y'all?
Cube, how you doing? Good to see you again.
You too.
So no one's calling you Mr. Ice since I last called you that?
No, nobody called me that yet.
Yeah, well, hey, I appreciate it. And we got a lot to talk about with the big 3. Also, you're going back on tour, which we got to talk about. And I've seen the dates, but let's start with the big 3 because I was going through this list. And Zach, do you mind if we're able to pull up some of the players that are going to be a part of it? But Cube, why don't you give people a little bit of a context of what's coming for this year for the Big Three in 2025?
2025 is summer in the city. We plant our flag in a few different areas. And what's great is we're going to come every year. This is a team, the DMV, which includes a few different territories out there, is a squad, I think, that, the squad is proven. It's a 3-time champ trilogy, coached by Steven Jackson. And so, it's a team that is very strong, and I think it's going to represent the area well. And we coming to Baltimore on the 22nd of June. And what's good is we're going to be there every year. We coming every year.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And by the way, I was looking at some other names that are being a part of the entire circuit, right? Did I see that Cardiac Kemba was being a part of the Big Three this year?
Yeah. He's playing for Chicago Triplets. And man, the competition is going to be fierce. We've pared down from 12 teams to 8 because going to the city-based model, it makes the most sense to actually expand from 8 back to 12 to 16 to continue to grow after this season. But so that means, all this great talent is concentrated into 8 teams.
Yeah, I mean, and look, there's a lot of talent. And also for those that don't know, they're having a chance to win $1 million win bonus. So the incentive, the drive to go out there and win it is going to be high. And we just put in the chat here for anyone that's still looking for tickets. Those are available now, Cube, right? You can buy them. They're all out on the Big Three website. And it's coming to Baltimore June 22nd at the CFG Arena. I think I got it all right?
Yeah, you can go to big3.com/tickets and grab some great seats. It's a great event. And what's cool is we're still bringing the whole league. So on the 22nd, you'll still see 4 games, but then you can root for the DMV trilogy to get a win. So, it's just a great opportunity to come back to Baltimore every season, and then play show the whole league. The league continues to grow. It's our 8th year, and we're gonna be there every year from here on out.
And I know every time it's you guys also preach it's an entertainment event, right? It's not just you're showing up and you're watching basketball. You guys make it an experience. Am I right with that?
Yeah, that's true. We keep people in the building. It's 4 games, so keep people in the building for 4 games. You definitely got to entertain them, feed them, give them something to look at and things to do. And we're dedicated to that. We're actually at heart, entertainment guys.
Yeah.
That's fortunate enough to have a credible pro league. And but we're dedicated to the fans and the experience. And this is totally different than you'll get at the NBA experience. This is a lot looser. Nobody gonna tackle you if you come and get an autograph from Dr. J. Like, you don't got to worry about that.
I mean, I think last year, Cube, if I'm not mistaken, you got some of the Baltimore connections that showed out last year. Some of the Baltimore legends that came out for the squad. Is that still in the works? And can you name the ones that came last year?
Yeah, I know. I remember Melo being out there. We was very happy to see him. It's great. It's one of those events where you never know who's gonna pop up. We definitely have had some big stars in the house, but with a league like this in the summer, you just never know who's in your city, and they usually come and hang out with the Big Three. it's definitely a sight to see. Besides the basketball, we had the mayor come out. It's just been an event that's been embraced on a lot of levels.
Oh, for sure. And before I ask you about, you're a busy guy, because then I know you got the tour coming up. We'll talk about that. But I know you're a big sports fan. So, hey, you're wearing the LA. Congratulations to your guys last year, by the way.
Oh, yeah, man.
The Dodgers, hey, there you go. I mean, look, is the repeat on? Or I see they have more injuries than the Orioles right now. But Dodgers, good time to be a Dodger fan, I guess, right?
Great time to be a Dodger fan. They have a great powerhouse team. They have a great organization. So, I know they're going through injuries, but with the Dodgers, it's going to be the next man up. Going to do a great job. Pitching staff is insane. We got a guy who can, throw a no-hitter and then score all the runs with his bat, So, Shohei Ohtani is next level.
Have you met him yet, Cube?
Yeah, I had a chance to meet him. It was brief because it was during the parade. So it was brief, but it'd be cool to be able to hang out with him a little more. But just watching him play, I feel like I'm watching something special.
I mean, he's a freak, man. There's a reason why he got paid. Was it $700 million? That kind of sounds nice. Might have to see if I can still throw. I only can top out of like 75, so it's not a good look for me, and I definitely can't hit the ball 500 feet. On another note, I hope the best for your Raiders, but I like Genty though. I saw that smile. Hey, Genty's a dog, man. He's a beast. I follow Boise State.
Mm-hmm.
My brother-in-law is from Boise, and he told me 2 years ago or a year ago, this guy's a beast.
Yeah.
The Raiders turn it around though, Cube?
Well, it's another regime, with Pete Carroll. Look, I've been always hopeful. I always am, totally optimistic. We're in a tough division, though. Being in that AFC West, dealing with the Chiefs, it's hard to get out of there unscathed. But I'm confident that the Raiders are dedicated to figuring it out. And, I'm gonna roll with their decisions, on the draft. Hopefully, it'll all start locking in. I think Pete Carroll's a good coach. I think Geno is a good quarterback with a lot to prove. I think he took leaps and bounds in Seattle. He got a lot to prove still because, he's on another squad. But so hopefully all that meshes together into some wins.
Yeah, I mean, I hope, or at least beating the Chargers, because I got to see Sean Merriman again down at the Super Bowl Radio Row. I think
he always talking mess, man. He always talking mess.
He feels pretty confident about. Hey, they became the LA Ravens, by the way, too, because all the Ravens personnel went over there to the Chargers. They say they might be that team in LA now. I don't know. I know the Rams might think differently. Watch out for the Chargers, man. Come on, Cube. Tell the boys in Vegas to get it going.
They need to take themselves back to San Diego. We don't want them. We don't need them.
Oh, man.
They're trespassing in Los Angeles, man. Please take them, somebody.
All right. We'll work on that. Hey, I got to know, how do you prepare for shows? How do you get yourself locked in to do that? Because I'm looking at your schedule upcoming. And when you're starting in April, if I can pull this up, or starting out April, September.
Yeah.
Back on tour, man. How you feeling about it? I'm going to pull up the image right here, Truth to Power Tour. See how quickly I can get this rocking. But first off, talk a little bit about that, because I know with the big three, but then you are going to be jam-packed moving and grooving here as we get later into the fall.
Yeah, man, it's something I've been dying to do, which is a major production tour. After 40 years, 4 decades of doing it, it's time to put it all in one show. And I'm excited. We're putting it together every day and making it something that Ice Cube fans deserve. People that's been down with me since the 80s, 40 years deserve a show like this. So we're gonna do everything to make sure that it's an experience that's like no other, especially for people that's been with me from day one. But with 40 years, we got day 1 fans, day 2 fans, day 3 fans, and day 4 fans. So we're going to rock them.
Yeah, you definitely, you're timeless, Cube. You're timeless through all this. So since you just brought that up, and also crazy to think too, Cube, people look at you as an actor more at times than all of the musical success that you've had. So through the years first, are there some songs that we're talking about day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4 that maybe hold a special place for you if you have one song that kind of makes you look back at all the career that you've had?
I mean, It Was a Good Day is a great song. But so is Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah.
When I hear that, it takes me all the way back to day 1 of the journey. And we got amazing songs. I mean, you know how we do it. We be clubbing. You Can Do It. Put your back into it. So
yeah,
we got a nice catalog. And I got my man Dub C with me. So me and him, we're gonna go through it. And the songs is really always been there, but now we got the big production. It's a show that's a spectacle. And so I think people, like I said, that's been down. If you see me before, it don't matter. You need to come and check me out on the Truth to Power tour, because I haven't done a production like this since Up in Smoke. And that was pretty huge. So come on through, check me out.
Hey, so I got to know then, what's become easier for you? Has it been in the acting career where I don't know how you keep a straight face with some of the movies that you've done? Like I was looking back at the Jump Street movies, and I don't know how, if I could keep a straight face watching you, how you had to act in those moments, to anything else. Is it the acting part, or for you going out there and putting on a show? What's become easier for you over the years?
Easier is I wouldn't put
easier. What's the challenges to that?
The challenges. The challenges is to, when it comes to movies, is picking scripts, picking, things that, people gonna connect with. I like to make a movie that you can watch over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I don't like to make a movie that you see once and you're like, all right, it's not easy to hit those, classic moments. And so that's pretty, that's not easy. And with music, it's really just making sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. That's not, I'm super creative, so I'm always trying to go outside the box. But, I got to still stay in pocket. I can go outside the box, but I still got to stay in pocket. So for a creative like me, that's difficult sometimes, because sometimes I want to do something that's way out, but then I don't feel like it's in pocket.
No, I get you. You got to be authentic to you.
Yeah.
That's what you've done the whole way through. But I kind of go through getting into media more. That's why I asked. Like, I mess up on something. But I swear, if I saw you yelling at me, that's why I just saw Jump Street. That's why I just brought it up again. And if you were yelling at me, I don't know if I could keep a straight face or watching how things go. Because you flip a script, man. Were able to do that all in one take, or did you make people break down?
We made each other laugh through the process. It's what's cool is, you get to work up to it. Like, when you guys see the movie, we've rehearsed it a few times. We've got everything, lined up with the camera. We kind of know what each other's going to do, but the great actors always hold something that they don't show everybody till the camera's rolling. And when you work with some of the best, that's what they do. They pull out something that you haven't seen before. It's like pulling out that pitch that nobody expected, throwing that change up. It just, it could throw you off, but once you know who you're working with, you get ready for it. You're looking for the curves. You're looking for, because you want to roll with it. You want to play off of it. You want to be quick with it. And when you're doing magic, when it's really good, messing up with, you wouldn't be able to use the tape. If I laughed or if I broke character, I would spoil it. So, you just got to be a pro and lock in.
I got to say, you lock in all the time, and that's why you're as creative as anyone out there in the industry. Your career speaks for itself musically, in the entertainment world, period. And that is carried over into not just your entertainment career, but what you're bringing in. So to wrap it all up, for people that don't know, coming in Baltimore in June 22nd, CFG Arena, big3.com to get tickets. Go watch the DMV trilogy. And then in the fall, go watch Truth to Power. You're coming September 5th, I believe, Cube, to Baltimore here. So I'll make sure we get the good word out. But anything else as we let you out of here? Am I missing anything?
No, I appreciate it, man. You're gonna see Cube a lot this year with the big three. Like I said, 4 games for the price of 1. Come out there and cheer on your own squad and cheer them on all summer. Watch them on TV, cheer them on. DMV trilogy. They're gonna try to get back to the top, and then I'll be coming back around in September to rock the house and celebrate all this good music.
Damn right you will. Well, Cube, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. And I hope to be seeing you in June here at CFG Arena. And until then, be good and take care of yourself, all right?
Anytime, every time, Ryan. Take it easy, man.
Appreciate it, Cube. Ice Cube, everybody. I can't wait for when it comes to the big three comes to Baltimore, man. I didn't have a chance. Last year I had to travel with it, and we were looking at this list. And last year I saw the video, Zach. I'm like, damn, everyone showed out for it. And then they even had I think it was a concert at the same time. It was amazing. And then this year, the talent that's coming to play this year, he ain't messing around. And then obviously, I mean, I don't know if there's an entertainer over the last decades, plural, doing it the way Cube has. I was hoping right there maybe he would say one of those curveballs he had when he was acting. But I'll tell you what, if he pulled that on me when I was on stage or on set with him, dude, I don't think I could keep a straight face. I'd probably be terrible with all that.
Yeah. I loved him talking about Sean Merriman. Him being like he's always, because Sean Merriman, there is nobody that talks more about hating the Las Vegas Raiders than Sean Merriman. I mean, it is incredible. It's like a hobby for him. So one day we gotta get those two on together to maybe have a Raiders Chargers little discussion.
Yeah, they can duke it out. I still love it. So, someone come get this team. Someone come get this team out of there. But it's always great. And again, if you need to find tickets for the big three, it's on their website at big3.com/tickets. And then the Truth to Power Tour is starting up in September, and it's coming to Baltimore September 5th right here. Cannot wait. And Cube is an entertainer. If you've enjoyed his stuff, and he meant it, he gears up and takes it to a different level. There's the Truth to Power Tour. Again, 4 decades of attitude. If you're day 1, day 2, day 3, or day 4. Remember, Cube's got you covered, man. I still can't believe how long he's been crushing it. But we appreciate
that's what's craziest when he talks about 4 decades. Like, to realize it's spanned that much already. It is just, and I will say, whoever did the poster, incredible. I love all of his faces throughout the years. That brilliant. So good little marketing. As someone took marketing classes, I enjoy that.
Good marketing. Good marketing from Cube. You expect anything less from the guy? And hey, Joe, appreciate you, man. Ice Cube, my favorite Cube on this warm day. Dude, I feel like nothing rattles him. You know, he just is there to continue to grind and work his way. And that's what he's done his entire way. And honestly, it's motivating for me, a guy that went from one industry to another seamlessly. It's been amazing to watch. But if you're new to the channel and you enjoy watching us, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube and on X as well. And if you want to listen to us on Spotify or Apple, why don't you give us a little rate and review? It helps us get the good word out here. And Zach, we've had a great list of guests so far this week. Going through it, we've had 2 Ravens draft picks and Carson Vincent and Teddy Buchanan join us. We had Dan Duquette, former Orioles GM, join us yesterday. And then obviously Mr. Cube, Ice Cube, joining us today. It's been a great week. And also, as a recap of what we actually have an interview with Yankees closer Luke Weaver. Thank goodness he didn't have to close out a game yesterday. Big fantasy football guy, but he came on to talk about big league impact and the all-win campaign. Does work with Kyle Gibson, Adam Wainwright's group that Kyle Gibson helps run, and that's what Jordan Westberg is also a part of. Yeah. So you'll find out. There's actually some Yankees that are great guys. I swear, they're not bad people. They're not all Rocco DeSangros. So
they're not all Rocco DeSangros. At least, not that we know. None that we've talked to yet.
Well, anyway, I meant to say, Zach, because it popped up at the time that Cube was coming on. Didn't want to keep him waiting. But let's take a proper trip now up to our friend Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia. Almost hit it perfectly.
Yeah. Close enough.
Right there. But our friends up at Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races. Hey, look, Zach, you've been putting out bets, and you actually hit one if you kept them separate. If you just kept
if you kept them separate, you get, you won last night. But yeah, Gunnar Henderson only could get one base for us, but doesn't matter. The Orioles did get the win. So, if we were going to go with only hitting one of those, I'm glad at least it was the Orioles win and not the other way, because we've seen Gunnar have some already this year. Actually, the day before, had the home run in a 15-run game. So, I'm glad at least the Orioles got the win there.
Oh, yeah.
We started off hot. We started off hot with back-to-back long balls, but we've been 0-3 since. So we're gonna have to get back on top. We're gonna have to figure it out.
We need to
get back in the lab.
We need to get a compilation going here. So anything going into the weekend then? You got anything?
Casey Mize over strikeouts tonight is what I'm going with right now. I think it's over 5.5.
Casey Mize?
Yeah, Casey Mize. Love it. Angels strikeout. I think the 28th most in or the 3rd most in baseball. So
Casey Mize.
The more you know.
38 tonight, and we're keeping it just as a straight bet. That's all we need.
All we need, just simple. Just keep it simple. Keep it simple. That's all we need.
Keep it simple. All right, trying to roll through what we need to have and what we need to do the rest of the week. And I know, I apologize, we've been a little bit off trying to get things going, a little bit more of a skeleton crew, so we've been a little bit behind on our production side. And again, then you have to deal with a little bit of traffic. So I don't know if we're going to have time for call-ins today. just because of the situation here. But am I missing something else? I mean, do we want to talk about the Heston Kjerstad situation yesterday?
Let's talk about it a little bit. Because I want to get your thoughts on it. Because I think, at least, obviously, if you watched last night, Heston Kjerstad got into a little, benches cleared, bullpens run out, Orioles, Yankees get into a little scuffle, nothing we haven't seen before. But it all started when, Reyes goes up on a steal attempt to try to catch an overthrown ball. Lands on Heston's head. I don't think it wasn't really a scuffle. It was just kind of everyone standing around. Words were exchanged, not really even pushing, shoving. But maybe it's something simple like that can get you kind of going. I think a lot of it had to do with the reaction. It was the Yankees. It was Heston. It was a play towards the head. I think we've all seen that before. And I think that kind of contributed more to him, I guess, being more upset than I think anything that was, a cheap shot or something like that.
Yeah, and you know what? I wouldn't mess with Heston though, too. That guy means some business. I think that just the Arkansas guys. I mean, we've seen James McCann. Wouldn't mess with James McCann. Heston, it looks like he's a friendly guy, and he is, but don't piss off a hog, man. Don't piss off a hog.
No.
He was looking for the fire. And I think he saw it. He said, don't effing land on me. Is essentially paraphrasing there what John Boy was saying. And look, I mean, things get chippy. And of all the people, though, if you get hit or drilled or something happens by a team and then something happens again, you're sitting there going, I'm just wondering now, is this personal? I'm tired of this shit. And I'm not saying that it was intentional by any means of like, hey, that he's actually trying to land on him. But one thing happens and it happens again. You're like, come on, man, shirts and pants. Can we figure this out? And I've had moments too where in my career, I know certain teams or players that would push the envelope on who you play. It's in any sport. You know the teams. You know that's trying to piss you off, But I don't think in this case it was that. But definitely if I'm Heston, I'd probably have a similar reaction. He'd be like, hey, dude.
It was all because of what's happened prior.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, I said it on Kevin Zach React last night. If that was Adley, if that was – I don't think anything happens. I think they're like, whoa, okay, sorry about that. And then they just move on. It's Heston. It's against the Yankees. It's a play at the head. And like you said, I think it's more just Heston being like, hey, what the hell? Like, what the hell are we doing here? So I think that was more of it than anything. Than it was like, that was on purpose. I think it was more in the moment. Playing the Yankees, Heston got hit in the head while it wasn't by a pitch or something. Gets landed on in the head, and I think he was just more like, okay, what's going on?
What is going on? What is going on? But you know what? What did happen? The Birds got the victory. Heston was a little bit chippy, which we love it. And the Orioles, once again, and actually, they got a winning record against the Yankees in the last 2 years, 17-12.
Yeah.
Isn't that a sight to see? Am I missing anything else on the way out here, Zach, before we –
No, I don't think anything nothing else has really popped up. It's one of those slower news days. Obviously, we said at the beginning of the show, hope everything is okay with that Pirates fan.
Gosh, man. You know what? I want to talk about that for a quick second.
Yeah.
Quick second here. I've been in a game, Zach, where when something – potentially tragic, but definitely jarring has happened. I was on the field, or I was playing our team. I was on the bench. I wasn't playing the game.
Yeah.
But I was there the night we played the Durham Bulls, Tides versus Bulls. And the pitcher on the Durham Bulls got hit by 100-mile-an-hour line drive from our catcher. Actually, Brett Cumby, who
Cumby.
Story. And Cumby is one of the most genuine guys of all time. And it just was a freak accident. But the stadium was numb. You could hear a pin drop. And then the fact of after it, there was discussions. We ended up not playing the game at all. It was done. just because it was so jarring. Now, obviously, we saw the Pirates continued the game last night.
Yeah.
But Andrew McCutchen was even talking about it's hard to continue playing when you see something that could be catastrophic happen, and then you try to just erase it from your mind. You know, it's a jarring situation. And regardless of the guy drank too much, whatever it may be, no one wants to see that at a ballpark. No one wants to see someone go through that. So I hope he's okay. And for the players, though, yeah, that's a hard thing. It's baseball is just a game at the end of the day. So that was tough to watch. So I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
And that's that is what it is. To close out the show, then to pick it back up, Zach, I wanted to show you this Italian stallion photo of yours truly from high school. And when Gilman we were rocking and rolling. And shout out Max Preps because they took this photo.
Jeez.
Oh, that's not me. That, shout out. There it is. Looking hot. There it is. Yeah. I got to say, the hair is feathered and lethal, if I say so myself.
It's a lot more there. That's for sure.
I mean, there's a hell of a lot more there, but that was good flow, man. That was good flow.
Yeah, that's something working.
I was hitting a wood bat. That was senior year. I was using a wood bat, being a hardo, using a wood bat season.
Gonna say you were that kid.
You know what? I was told to, and I did. But man, I gotta say, feathered and lethal. You guys want to talk about that? There it is. I did have hair, and I was serious. I was locked in. That guy looks like he's locked the hell in, if I say so myself.
You going up to bat after this, or was this after?
I think I'm definitely going to hit.
I was going to say, this is either going to hit or this was after a K. There was one of the two.
No, I'd have a different look after a K. I can guarantee you that. And, Mom, which Kelly look forward to, which I guess I'm looking forward to, kind of terrified when she makes her debut here. And we have a little bit of What's Up, Ma segment here coming in. A little bit terrified.
Yeah.
A little bit terrified there. Okay, timeout. This is why would Ryan look like he's Slytherin in this picture? Timeout. Okay, wait a minute.
Yeah, without a doubt you do.
You think I look Slytherin in this photo? Is it because my eyebrow?
I don't know. There's just a look. I'm not saying it's like a good or bad. You just look like you'd be in Slytherin in this.
I know
what it's saying.
It's always it's an offense when you say Slytherin.
I don't think that's an offense.
I don't
think there's I don't think there's like a bad, I guess they were more like evil, but I wouldn't say they were like, I'd take it as like a diss, like, oh, you look like you'd be in Slytherin. I just think that you just give that vibe.
Like you're evil. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, but I could see it. I think you would. I could see it.
All right, so Ryan Ripken, Dr. Evil, the same. Slytherin. You'd definitely be like a
Gryffindor. I know.
That's not so we're describing that the best house would be Gryffindor, is what you're saying.
No, that's just what I just put what I believe I'd be in Gryffindor. Actually, I could be a little Hufflepuff. What is it? Hufflepuff and I could see myself in Hufflepuff.
I think
that's a vibey one. I feel like Hufflepuff is there for the vibe, so I could see myself.
Say Rocco Slytherin.
Rocco without a doubt Slytherin. That's not even a question. Yeah. Okay. This is.
Yeah. So am I ambitious? I'm evil and ambitious. Beautiful.
I think it's just more I mean, you could have just gone with the more ambitious side, but you keep throwing the evil in there. Yeah, remember he was even suggested it with Harry. Like Harry Potter was almost a Slytherin. It was like, they had pre-draft workouts. Yeah, that's how they were decided. Remember, it was in the book. It wasn't in the movie. The combine.
Reader now. You read that at Loyola?
I think I've read 2 Harry Potter books, not in the past 15 years.
Yeah, Jamie's a huge Harry Potter person. She's read every single book maybe 4 times. You know, Harry Potter marathon's on. She's watching it. She's not watching The Lord of the Rings. She's watching the Harry Potter marathon.
Lord of the Rings is good. I like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, we voted on that. Also,
Yeah.
would Kevin's either a Ravenclaw?
No, Kevin's a Hufflepuff. Kevin just I could see Kevin. Kevin could be a Ravenclaw. Locked on Ravenclaw.
Locked on Claw? Locked on Ravenclaw. He's got to be then. Locked on Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
And then would Brad be – I feel like Brad's either Ravenclaw or Slytherin.
Yeah, he's probably up there. I could see Brad and Rocco both being Slytherin. The hair for Brad gives me Slytherin vibes.
Yeah.
The pushback. I could see him very much being Slytherin.
So I think I would be in a Harry situation where they'd probably say you would do well in Slytherin. Okay, I can agree with that.
Yeah. Okay. Over here, you were over here taking it.
And I choose Gryffindor, and then I save the world and defeat all the dark magic.
Yeah.
That's essentially that. Like actually, now that we say it that way, like it is a pretty very evenly descriptive thing of me and Harry Potter.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I have
a scar.
I can't see. I got a scar.
Just interchangeable. You two just interchangeable.
All right. Zach, anything else for our viewers out there besides that Kevin and Zach Reacts will be live for the Royals. They'll be back on Friday.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be back for more content this upcoming week with more guests, more people. We're going to release some interviews.
A lot of fun still to be had.
Okay. I got to put together some thoughts here, and I'm going to get my moving and grooving dancing shoes on here. And that's maybe what Kelly will bring to the table when we start the What's Up with Ma. Or we don't know the name of it. It's like What's Up with Llama, What's Up with Ma. But we definitely food, drink, music.
Ooh.
Should be an interesting scene. Up here in the studios, up in here. Y'all gonna make me lose my cool, Zach. Up in here.
Up in here.
And any hints for the Sunday night interview? Steve, it's gonna be, we actually said it earlier on, Mr. Smoltz, John Smoltz. It's gonna be the interview on Sunday night. Sat down with him. And there's a stat that people probably don't know about him. It has to do with swinging the bat with John Smoltz. So that's going to be a great interview. Sat down with him, so much to talk about just there. And Kelly, yep, there it is. Maybe I'll teach my mom how to kick down the door, Zach. It's a great move. Look at that. Really good. Really.
There we go. I just tore everything in my legs doing that.
You know, I got to run over. If I get the music, I got to run over here because we have no one else in the studio.
Yeah, I was going to say, do.
Do we just do that?
Do.
I'll get the music. Hold on.
I was going to say, go hit the music. I'll dance over here while they do it. I'm taking over the show. He took his headphones out. He has no clue what I'm talking about. It could literally be anything he wouldn't know. You could just say anything right now. He'd have no clue. I'm just waiting for the music to happen. I think it's going to scare me.
Hello.
There it is. Oh, he's switching cameras?
It's me. Oh, I thought you were
trying to
with that.
I thought
if
after all these years you like to meet
to go
over everything. Boom, we're killing it.
They say
well, you lost me after that.
That time's supposed to heal us, but I ain't done no healing. Who sings it?
Adele.
Oh, what? Really good right there. I didn't think you'd get it. Well, that's a good way to end the show here. Appreciate each and every one of you. As always, have a day, have a night, have a great stinking weekend. Zach and Kevin will be with you on Friday on Kevin and Zach Reacts. Thank you, Q.
Appreciate you, Q.
Right back here on Tuesday for a brand new edition of the Ryan Ripken Show.
Oh, all right.